Happy 19th of December. In this episode, as promised in episode 12, you'll hear more about Christmas in the Faroe Islands, which is part of the Danish realm. I recently had a lovely chat with my mom about her childhood Christmases in the Faroe Islands. She was born in 1955 and grew up in the fourth biggest island of the Faroe Islands, Suðuroy, with her mother, father, and two sisters. In my mom's childhood home, the Christmas season began on December 1st as they started putting up the Christmas decorations. As far as she can remember, she and her siblings decorated their house for Christmas along with their mother. Almost all the Christmas decorations were homemade. They decorated with things like woven paper hearts, elves, and paper garlands. One decoration that wasn't homemade was the red paper star, a star lantern with a light bulb inside that allows light to twinkle through hundreds of tiny star-shaped perforations. These red or orange Christmas stars are very common both in Greenland and the Faroe Islands. But in my mom's family, they also had some store-bought decorations because 3 of her aunts lived in Denmark and 2 of them always sent packages to the Faroe Island for Christmas, often including a bit of Christmas decor from Denmark, usually something made of cardboard or paper. Throughout December, they also made Christmas centerpieces with clay, candles, fir, and pine cones, like in Denmark. But they had to buy the decorations since fir branches and cones couldn't be found in nature. Of course, they baked extensively too. The cookies she remembers best are jødekager, kleiner, this type of fried twisted pastries, and vaniljekranse. The mother did the baking while she and her sisters helped her out. They didn't have advent calendars, as those hadn't made it to the Faroe Islands at that time. But they did have paper advent calendars, so the children certainly counted down to Christmas. The calendars were very, very beautiful and covered in glitter. And according to my mom, you simply can't find anything today that matches that level of extra of those calendars from back then. Christmas Eve was a mix of play and waiting for the children, but no more playing after 4 in the afternoon. After that, they were not allowed outside because their mother didn't want them to come home with dirty clothes she'd have to deal with. So they put on their best clothes and polished their manners. Their mom made sure to hide the Christmas presents well until the evening. Not because of the children, but because of the children's father. He was terribly curious and would shake all the packages, feel them, and inspect the gift tags when he found them. He usually knew who all the gifts were for ahead of time. When I asked my mom about films or programs on TV, she very matter-of-factly said they didn't have television in the Faroe Islands. In fact, the first time she ever watched TV was in 1972 in Øresundsvej in Zealand, where one of her sisters lived with her husband. Even at that time, there was still no TV in the Faroe Islands, and her sister still just had a black and white set. The Christmas Eve celebration was with her family and her aunt, uncle, and their 3 daughters. The menu was roast duck with gravy, white and caramelized potatoes, and of course red cabbage. The starter might have been chicken soup, though my mom admits her memory is fuzzy about events that happened 60 years ago. The dessert, however, was always risalamang, with a small prize for the one who found the whole almond. That part she remembers vividly, especially because serving it was always a bit chaotic. Her father was once again incredibly curious. Her mother would always prepare the dessert in individual portions in the kitchen, and he could never resist sneaking in and stirring through all the bowls with his spoon before they were served. He was always worried that she might cheat and forget to include the almond. He'd also get quite grumpy if he didn't win. So, Christmas Eve began at home with the Christmas dinner in the glow of the Christmas tree lights. That's also where they opened gifts and where Father Christmas paid a visit. My mom can't remember who played Father Christmas, so we quickly agreed it was of course the real one. He usually stopped by right after dinner with a few extra presents. The tags on the gifts always specified which family members they were from, because they were never from Father Christmas. One of her aunts in Denmark was especially kind about sending gifts. My mom distinctly remembers one year when she received a pop-up book about Snow White. It was so beautiful, but one particular place stood out. The scene where Snow White lies in the glass coffin. The way the book opened made it almost too lifelike and spooky, but also very impressive. I find it quite endearing that she remembers that. The dancing around the Christmas tree, however, took place at her aunt's house, most likely because her 3 daughters wanted the family to come over. Only Christmas hymns were sung around the tree. Anything else was completely unthinkable. Her father in particular made a point of upholding proper decorum that evening, and he expected the same from everyone else, even though no one actively practiced their faith on a daily basis. A big thank you to my mom for this lovely trip down memory lane, and thank you for listening. Have a wonderful December day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.